All right, guys, welcome to another episode of On the King's Dime. It's our last episode for the year, and what a year it has been for the Sydney Kings.
Yep.
We are finally top of the table with a pretty gritty win over the Brisbane Bullets. Benny Black always is with us with his mic falling over.
Mic problems.
Mic problems.
Right. You could hear them all the way through, but now you can see them on the live stream for anyone that's listening. So
Fall over.
Good. So a good finish to 2018. Started pretty poorly, obviously, with last year's debacle at the end of last season. I think, did we get the spoon last year or was second last? That shows how much I remember.
Yeah.
Obviously, with Bogut coming in this year, good stuff. Obviously, it's taken the franchise forward. It's getting bums on seats. And I think we're playing better at basketball. It's basketball I want to watch.
Well, we haven't had the injury problems as well. Lucius has been fairly healthy, although he was pretty much null void this game. Lucius has been fairly healthy. Randall's just been healthy. Newley's been a good crack in the lineup, and getting guys like Kickett and Adnam, Adnam's in career best form, coming off the bench, only playing half a game.
Yeah. You're
pretty lucky when that's the case. So we haven't had to go to any bench depth really thus far.
So I think it's all sort of coming up trumps. It's all happening, and it's all working for us. Things are going really well. We haven't seen any adversity, like any real adversity, apart from those Melbourne games and apart from those two Adelaide games. It would be interesting to see how this team gets into a scrap and faces a scrap. I
think the big one is like the Melbourne game when, they lock down the perimeter. They're, a good solid team. They know what to do. They've won it last year and won it well.
Yeah.
And we just can't get over that hurdle. We just seem to go cold for like a quarter. We seem to go for cold for a quarter anyway. It just seems to be like...
it happens a lot, yeah.
The floor isn't running well, or we've just not got the right pieces on the floor at the same time, or they haven't played well together. And we go really cold. And Bogut seems to be off during that period as well, and there's no facilitation run through that. I mean, Bogut 5 assists this game, just running the floor as a point forward.
Yeah,
I would say, but big
finishing plays too and scoring. I think he's not a designated scorer. Like I've seen people sort of say he should be scoring 20 a night.
No, he shouldn't. If he's putting up double figures, you having a good night.
It's a bonus. It's a good night. He gets rolling. Defensively, it's basically all about on the defensive end. If we're locking down the defensive end, it gets us into transition. It gets our rhythm going, and we obviously play a lot better through playing well defensively. I think that's more of a bonus when he's scoring, which is when he has a good night. But I think it's his defense and the defense in general that fuels our offense. Yeah. Which is where I guess you get games like this game against Brisbane that kind of grind to a halt a little bit.
Well, it's just, a team that's apparently shooting the best from 3-point land, shot 5 of 24.
Yeah.
It was just 20%. Brick City.
Yeah. Well, we were saying before we started, our perimeter defense,
it's not like we're actually defending.
Wow, we're fantastic. This is great perimeter defense. Just seems like teams don't shoot well against us. Obviously, Bogut helps that because a lot of teams drive in and just go, oh, no, Bogut's there. Back it out, guys. Let's start again. There's probably, if you looked at more advanced analytics, you might see a lot of late shot clock threes.
Yeah.
It feels like we let teams play and then they drive and then they can't do anything because Bogut's there, and then they've got to scramble, and our defense inside scrambles teams and it's all rushed. So that kind of plays into it.
It seems like we slow the ball a lot. We slow the game down a lot. And we're not kind of a transition team. There's kind of like Newley, who's the slasher and is fantastic in transition, and Randall. But we seem to slow the game down a little bit, let Bogut get to the top, and then facilitate and wait for that perfect look. You see other games and that was 121 to 110. She's like, well, it's the NBL. How do you score 120 points? Sydney can't score 120 points.
Nah, well, we hold teams to low shooting and low point scoring as well.
Yeah. So, it's not like we're getting smashed out. It's just it seems to be a slower game. It seems to be like that center waiting for facilitation. We got some old geezers in Kickett and things like that, and we're waiting for them to get to their positions, and it's not that transition. So when you see teams that are frustrated when they can't get out in transition and get a wide look, they're just like, we'll try and shoot around a screen, and that's not their bread and butter, is shooting off a curl. A lot of it is drive and kick out.
Yeah,
But they don't seem to be able to do that at all. I mean, Lamar Patterson was held to 17 points. He's been the league's leading scorer since he entered the fray. Still shooting at a good clip, 40% from three, but everyone else was absolutely woeful.
And he's a taller guard, or he's forward/guard. And taller players on the perimeter seem to be a lot harder for our perimeter guys to deal with, unless kind of Bowen's in the game. But then again, like Bowen's one guy out of our crew of guards, which is 4 or 5 guards. And he's basically the only size guy that has to make up for the deficiencies of the other guards who are quite undersized as well. So I think it puts us into a rhythm of the way we want to play. Our defense leading to offense. And then it kind of just scrambles opposition teams who don't really know how to play when they can't drive on Bogut. We saw a couple of blocks in this game where guys just going straight into Bogut. Yeah. It's just like, what are you doing? Like, you just cannot go straight into Bogut. He's going to block you every time. So I just think it just scrambles teams. Like, they just don't really know how to play. And obviously this Brisbane team, before we get to the game in general, it felt like they had an idea of how they wanted to play against Sydney. And then in the first quarter, it kind of fell apart. And, we have no oversized guy to really threaten Bogut. What do we do? Okay, we don't know how to play this team. And it all just kind of went out the window. And Sydney loves that. Like, Sydney loves the hectic scramble. And it's like, we know how to play. Like, we've got Randall who can handle. We've got Newley who can get to the rim. We've got shooters. Obviously, Lish didn't play that well in this game. And then we had some bench guys that stepped up. Like, it's we exist in this frame of mind, whereas other teams come to play us and they go, well, what are we doing here? Do we know how we're going to play this? And things are breaking down. So it's really only the elite teams like Melbourne and Perth.
And you know what? It's a little bit disappointing because Andre Laharnis, whatever his name is.
Safety Harness.
He's our national coach. And I felt like if anyone could kind of like put the bogey on Bogut and get someone, get him facilitated, get him out of the key, it would have been him. But it seemed to be like, we just got blocked. First quarter. Well, we're the top 3-point team. We're just going to brick threes.
Yeah.
And they just shot 3 after 3 and a couple landed. But then it was just kind of like, well, now we're gone cold and there's nothing and there's no facilitation. And Kadee's not really passing the ball well. And Bairstow's just going to back down and try and back down, and that's...
Yeah, it's just...
It was kind of... That was it.
They're like Hodgson and Bairstow as a combination didn't really work against this team. And even Ware was playing really well at the start of the game. Like, good hustle.
Starting to set some screens.
And like getting on the boards as well.
Yeah, Pinot. Solid screen. That screen he set for Randall late in the third for that Randall 3. Great.
Yeah,
like,
perfect.
Solid. That's all you have to do. Ware was moving for the first 6 games and it was like, if I actually stand still. I mean, some terrible offensive calls. I think Ware got one on a moving screen. It was like he was actually perfectly still.
Yeah.
It's some of this reffing. I just look at him and it's like, even for even Brisbane, I'm not saying, it's Sydney. It's just general reffing as a whole. It's just terrible.
It's like we watch a lot of NBA and you watch the NBA and after you've watched the NBL...
It's so professional.
Well, after you've watched the NBL, you go back to the NBA and you go, right, like this is really hard to call. And they're actually getting a fair few of these calls right. Whereas you look at the NBL and half the time it looks like they don't even know what they do. They just whistle. Like even Newley went to the line for a couple of times where you're just like, that wasn't even foul. Like what? He just kind of went up in traffic and put the ball in and he gets a free throw. I love it, but it's just a bit all over the place. And we won this game. We didn't have to deal with the refs, which was good.
It was.
But I feel consistent. For Brisbane, like they had a couple of calls where you're just like, okay, and then Bowen just gets called for fouls, and you're just like, that's not a foul, and then he'll just get trained like crunched, bang, and you're like, that's a foul. No foul. Okay, like, do you guys hate Bowen or something?
I don't know. And sometimes I feel, when they're all scrambling for the O boards and it's just kind of everyone's jumping in the air and it's just like, well, there's a hand slapping someone somewhere. Break the play down so it doesn't go to this farcical shambles and call something. And in that case, mostly the defense gets called in the NBA anyway. But, if you're going up to the board and you're boxing the guy out and he's jumping over the top and slapping you, it's typically a foul. But they kind of let that go.
Yeah.
And then, then it kicks back out. It's like, I don't know. I just feel like every time I watch these games, like, the Fox Sports feed was an hour and a half for a basketball game.
Yeah.
So they actually only played 40 minutes. And it just feels like...
Yeah, it's a bit slow.
Like it's slow, but then it's like over, and you're like, That was the game.
Yeah.
We got to a total of 75 points for one team and 68 for the other. Something wrong with this product at this point.
So we held them to 35 in the first half, and I was just thinking at halftime, like, 35 points in a half, like that's just horrible. But it was still a good performance, and I think the way we play and the way we want to play, now we're starting to get the rewards and the flow-on effects. Like, obviously, you can play really out of control, be really fast, and I feel like Randall's really reined it in and just gone, oh, right, I don't need to play at 100 kilometers an hour.
No.
Fly down the court, because I fly down the court and I look back and everyone's still at half court. Nobody, and I can't do anything. Like,
Yeah.
So he picks and chooses his moments. I felt like at the start of the year, like he was a bit out of control and it was a bit
I think
wild.
him and Bogut were clashing, but now there seems to be a little bit of a combination there. Like you'll see him, all right, Bogut's rolled here. All right, time to throw up the lob. Bang.
And even that lob play in the first quarter where it wasn't even... it was barely contested, and like Bogut caught it in traffic, and you were just thinking, wow, like you got no answer for this. Like that's, if we need a bucket, we're just going to go to that play. But then on the other side of it is we tend to put together a nice piece of play, and then I'll tuck that in the pocket and just never use that again. And you're like, what's going on?
This should come out at least 3 times a night.
Yeah, for sure. They should draw that up.
With 7 points with 2 minutes to go in the third quarter, all right, let's have a bit of a screen and roll here. Bogut gets the rim, or Bowen, or, it's... The other thing I think they did quite well in this game is they patrolled the areas on the O boards to stop Brisbane. I mean, they still got 13 offensive boards, but I think some of those were just those jumping and hands flailing everywhere. Oh, it's just come out for Giddy, or Glidden's just standing randomly and someone slaps someone's arm into the ball and now it's here. So a little bit better on the O boards. It seems to be something Sydney struggles with.
Well, I think a lot of teams shoot the three ball at us a lot.
And they get the random bounce
and then
outs.
long rebounds, and these NBL rims are like,
solid.
In Adelaide, they've got it's like a thick, round steel rim, whereas in Sydney, it's like the proper FIBA rim with like the 2-tiered steel. Like it's a nice rim, whereas in Adelaide, it's like the Menai gym like rim, and this is a professional league. Like, shouldn't you all have the exact same basket?
I know, you hear the NBA ring, and it's so soft and nice, and then you get like good rolls, and then you hear this, and it's
and you're like, oh, that's
this sounds
it's horrible.
like mechanical.
A couple of the Lish ones, man, where he bricked them, like, you could hear the rim go. It's like, oh, it's a bad sound. But anyway, we'll move on to the game itself. Just a shout out. If you guys are listening, I'm not sure if the sound will be any good. The first one was all right. You can hear us all right. But as always, you can like, share, and subscribe on the King's Dime. We do an NBA pod as well, which is Aussies Taking Over the NBA.
It is.
If you want to listen to our NBA, go there on Facebook. You can subscribe on Facebook and on YouTube. And obviously,
you can listen to it later on all the good podcasting apps as well.
And we're just doing some live streaming. So in the holidays leading up to the New Year's, I guess we can just do some live streams whenever we feel like it. Thanks for watching. If everyone's watching, I'll click and just point at it again like a gormless balloon. So finished the new year on top, obviously. That was a good 68% win rate in the NBL. At the start of the season, did you feel like this was coming?
I was hoping it was coming. I felt that, we really needed to prove ourselves against the big players. And I just don't think anyone really isn't that big player. I mean, I don't know how Adelaide's crept up into the top 4. They've been woeful thus far, except maybe Froling. But, we needed to prove ourselves against Melbourne. We haven't done that as yet. It seems to just be that scrappy, just cold game. But look, it's good to be out on top. We still haven't played the same amount of games. I think we got 2 in the bag under Melbourne and Perth.
Yep.
And so we're going to have a couple of double weeks coming up soon. But it's good to. I think it's a psychological standpoint. You're halfway through the season. We're getting into the right motion. Some of our players are playing better. Kickett seems to have found the 3-ball.
Yep.
Bowen seems to have found his place. Adnam's, probably the best backup guard in the league. I'd have to say.
Yeah.
In terms of shooting the 3-ball, facilitation, ball handling. So it seems like everything's going in the right direction. We've had no injuries, which a lot of the other teams haven't. Cotton, Martin's been out. Bairstow's been they've had some injury woes. I just hope it stays like that.
Yeah, same. Touch wood that stays like that. from the preseason, like everything was starting to look really good. Like, oh wow, this team's starting to play a high level of basketball. Kind of fell flat as soon as we got to the NBL. It got, oh okay, like this is a proper defense and they know how to scheme against us. And instead of looking like a team that was trying to build something and trying to work through their problems on their offensive problems, we looked like a team that came up against a brick wall and then had no answers.
Well, I think we were just 5 guys playing some individual ball. I think that we had a really good preseason. We looked good against these colleges, but turns out they were just woeful.
And even in the Melbourne game and the first Melbourne game we lost was similar to the season on the season game. Like scratchy two-way. From then the second, it looked like we made some adjustments and went, oh, okay, we can play a lot better if we play this differently and we think about it. And even though we're playing slow, we're not just tossing the ball around and then hoping for the best. Like it looked like we were actually trying to plan out some strategies. That's where I think the 3 games against Melbourne that we've lost, like they were winnable games. Like we weren't blown out. We stood our own and we almost got there, which is painful, but at the same time, it gives you an opportunity to go, okay, we're not quite there, but there's still things we still need to work on. There's a few little things, execution stuff, like small X's and O's stuff that's a little bit of a struggle at times. But I feel like what they're trying to build is starting to work now, and teams don't really have that many answers for it. If Bogut's playing well, if Randall's playing well, if everyone starts to fire, then it gets a rhythm on, it gets a roll on, and I think we're going to look a lot better going down the stretch of the season when we start to tighten all these things up, because all that's really lacking is the hustle, where you need to work harder for this. You need to work harder to get more offensive boards or get more defensive rebounds, box out. Little things they need to tidy up, which is just hustle in general. Like it's not X's and O's and coaching and stuff.
No,
like Gaze could be a little bit better in crunch time situations and a few little things here and there, but it's a short season as well. They're short games. Feels like in this game in particular, we'll go on to this game now, but this game we started really well. It was like, right, get out there, get rolling. We started well, we're looking good. Then we go into halftime, just to skip ahead a little bit, and then we come out flat, and you're just like, halftime came at the wrong moment. Just was like, this team is just starting to get rolling, starting to get going, and then we come out flat. We did that against Melbourne as well. So
I don't know what it is. It seems to be a game of 2 halves. It seems to be like the first quarter we're looking really good. Second quarter is a little bit slower. We haven't got our starting 5 on. A couple of bench. Maybe Pinot comes on. Pinot's very, very lively. He injects a lot of energy into the game, but lacks any kind of offensive ability in this rotation. Maybe in another team he would be a bit better, but it seems like he's got a baby hook and that's about it.
But he's not looking for the ball either. Like,
no, he's not looking to score. And it's just like, well, you know what?
But that's all right. Like you don't want a guy who comes out and thinks he can score, like gumming up the offense. You want a guy who goes, all right, I have no offensive game at all. I'm happy to set screens, hustle on the boards, work hard to get my guys open. Like that's all right.
It's all right now, but what if Bogut went down?
Yeah,
that's the thing. And Kickett's got to play the 5, and Bogut's slow. Kickett's even slower.
Yeah,
we need a bit more energy, and Pinot comes in, and hold on, we've got no offense.
Yeah.
So it'd be nice to see him again. It's the time where you want a blowout to get these guys some minutes, like a Kuth and Deng Deng. You want these guys playing some minutes. I think Deng Deng would fit really well in the 4. He hustles well, can shoot a nice fader, and isn't a slouch, and could guard the perimeter in a semi-decent fashion. So I'd like to see more of Deng Deng playing in these kind of games against taller guards.
Yeah. I'm not sure, like, Pinau's hustle ethic fits a bit better than Deng Deng. Like obviously, if you were to put Deng Deng at the 3, you can't really match it like put him in a rotation with Pinau. Like it just
no, you don't put him in a rotation with Pinau, but you get in some minutes with Bogut on the floor, and then you've got that kind of Bowen at 4, Deng at 3, and now 2 undersized guards don't matter that much because you can switch up a bit. I mean, these are FIBA rules. It's just Bogut just sit under the basket all day, just go nah.
That's the good part about. That's why he's getting a lot of blocks.
Yeah, in the NBA, this just wouldn't happen. It'd be ISO on one side, and you really have to hunt them, and you get called for a lot of fouls. Whereas here, just can wait until someone puts up a stupid shot, and just like,
that's great. Because a lot of people just drive straight into it, and you just think, what are you doing?
Mate,
Why are you
7 foot,
driving
what are you doing?
straight into? It happened twice, I think, in this game against Brisbane. I think one of them was... Thurangi kind of went to his left and tried to just lay it in. He blocked him, stared him down. The other one, I think, was Hodgson went like right at him, and it was just like straight, no, thanks. But he changes a lot of shots, and you don't see that on the scorecard or the stat line as well. So we started the quarter really well. We shot 10 of 17 from 2 and then 1 of 3 from 3. I like that we don't just go to the 3-point.
I do like
heaving up 3 points.
It's a good part of, I think, of Gaze's game is that we just don't... He's disciplined enough with the team that it's just like, yeah, 3 balls are happening.
Yeah.
And I think it's also a little bit that the really only player in our team that can ISO 3 balls Lish.
Yeah.
And they didn't drop it all yesterday, so...
Nah, yeah, you're right. And I mean, Randall can create his shot off the dribble, like coming off a screen.
Yeah.
But then you're kind of having Bogut interact with the offense in a different way. Like on a DHO, like a dribble handoff situation, he's usually not going to get enough separation to shoot, and he's going to want to drive anyway because that's his game. He wants to come off the curl and drive. But it's really only Lish, you're right, who can create his own shot.
Or can even
ISO
ISO shoot in traffic and shoot over top of someone.
Because Newley's like taking wide open shots and at the perimeter, and Ware is as well. But I think teams that want to defend up high that's where like Newley straight away just needs to go right. I'm just going straight to the rim every time. Like we run like some pistol action, then Newley basically cuts and he's either wide open. And he got a nice wide open baseline run as well. It's these teams that they don't scout the way this team plays in high IQ situations. Like the way Bogut passes, like you can't leave anything to chance.
And a lot of the time it's that momentary lapse of concentration, and all of a sudden Bogut slipped one through to Randall and he's laying up, and it's just like, well, you can't coach for that.
No.
It's just like you just got to be on the ball all the time. And if Bogut's got the ball in his hands, he's either someone's either dribbling around, coming around, and he's handing it off, and he'll screen at the same time and hold up 2 players, or someone's baseline cutting. And we didn't see that for the first. I do like that the evolution of this team has been away from the high weave. They went to it a couple of times, but it seems to be going away now.
Yeah.
And it seems to be like there's a bit more baseline cutting. You see Bowen, he'll cut a lot more from the baseline. Even if someone else is shooting, you see him cut in for at least to get the tip in or the O-board. There seems to be a little bit more spreading of the floor. It's funny. I still find these FIBA courts hilarious because, Newley stepped out. You're like, but it was right on the line. Like, what happened?
Yeah, he stepped out big too. Like his foot went out by like about that much.
Are people like, are we playing on a child's court or something?
But David Ware, obviously, he started the game really well. He got to the board, like he got to the offensive boards. I think he put one tip in away, and then he had one where Bogut just dribbled up court, untouched, and then I think I might have gone around the back and just like passed it straight to Ware under the basket to lay it in. It felt like Brisbane, after sort of starting the game, realised, we've got no answer for Bogut. And they just allowed him to do things, whatever he wanted.
Yeah.
It's teams that do that, which we punish. Like it's teams that don't do that, like Melbourne and Perth, that we struggle against, because it becomes Bogut kind of gets trapped in a vortex of trying to do things to get himself going, to get the team going. But it also felt like this Brisbane team straight away was like, we've got to stop transition. We can't let this team get into transition because they'll kill us. So there was no offensive rebounding at all at the start. And then Bogut was able to just kind of just amble up the court with the ball and start initiating things in the half court. Yeah. Which then we'll just kill you anyway. The game's
pretty much over once he starts facilitating like that.
Well, we'll just kill teams because of how good his passing is and how good and how quick our guards are. We had a nice 6-0 run in the first quarter. Newley just pretty much ran out from the half court off an inbound on a made basket and just straight to the rim. And you're just thinking, wow, like you got to scout Brad Newley. You can't let him get to the rim, man. He'll finish every time. And then Randall, that sweet little and then
the one in, out, the in, out, and then just like, where's he going? That's game.
Superb, man. And that's where you start to see, all right, you haven't really worked this Sydney team out. Like, you haven't scouted this team properly. You can't let Randall get isolated one-on-one that close to the basket. Like, he'll destroy pretty much anyone. And then that high-low action with Bogut, where he pretty much got to the rim and he finished like through two guys. Like, he caught the ball and finished with basically two guys on him.
On his hip,
and it was like, well, you could just go to that all night and that'll be a bucket every time because nobody can get high enough to get the ball. And that's where I feel like Randall has changed his game almost. Like, he's starting to go, I don't need to just hold the ball for 12 seconds. I don't need to, stand around. And that's where maybe the weave was a way to get the ball out of his hand a little bit. Like, get the ball out of your hand, don't pound the ball up the court. I know we don't really like it, but it's kind of a way to make Randall go, okay, I don't need to just pound the ball up the court, try and, jink and stutter on my man and try and make things happen. I've got other guys that can help me make things happen, and I can make basketball plays rather than individual isolation plays, which is, it's better for him. It's better for the team. I feel like he gets going too when he starts shooting well, shooting in, off a Bogut screen. But yeah, I wrote here, like, that's where it's pretty clear that this team had no answer for Bogut offensively and defensively.
It seems like, the team that has no answer to Bogut, it just...
That's it. It's like
it's game over. It's just at some point, unless we go super cold...
Which we kind of have been doing a little bit in the second half.
Well, we've had 5 losses and 3 to Melbourne. So it just shows you what teams... 2 to Melbourne. No, 3.
The other 2 to Adelaide.
So
it's like the same team.
The Fitter and Turner was hitting 80%.
Yeah. And that was a bit of a lightning in a bottle game.
Yeah.
And it's things that we're trying to do that don't... Like, they don't cause losses. Like, what we're trying to do doesn't mean, we're not good enough, we're going to lose. Like, it's when, like, lightning in a bottle happens that we seem to lose, and execution type things. But yeah, it was 17 to 11 when Brisbane took a timeout with 4 minutes remaining, and that's where I kind of was like, well, Brisbane don't really have an answer for this. And then but they brought the subs in, and Bowen finished a nice wide open cut. And that's where we were seeing in preseason, like, these cuts that these guys were making, and it was like they just get wide open at the basket. And then Kyle Adnam off the bench, mate, he played really well. Fantastic game for him. We went into the first quarter 24-18, a nice little lead, and it was the second quarter where we kind of blew the game out to 13. And we shot 6 of 12, so 50% from 2, and then 3 of 9 from 3. And held Brisbane to 0 of 3 from the 3-point line. Bupkis. But yeah, Wild Kyle, I just love when he makes a bucket and the Wild Kyle. It's great. It's like this ratty little surfer looks like a surfer from Bondi. Yeah. Somehow is Wild Kyle.
From the bra.
Wild Kyle.
Mate, he's not that far from having his own team. I think he'd be a fantastic signing for South Melbourne next year as a premier guard, because his ability to pull up on the 3 ball is pretty fantastic.
Create his own shot. And even if he plays at the 2 where someone's, trying to find him wide open, he knocks it down, and he was knocking it down. I think he hit 2 in a row.
Yeah.
And then he had like a total heat check in the corner, like just a massive chuck. Like, I'm on, boys, I'm going to chuck this. And I think it bricked. It was a terrible brick. But I was just thinking to myself, like, this team feeds the open guy or the hot guy as well.
Yeah.
It wants guys to, take advantage of the shooting. I've noticed they do that with Randall a little bit. Like, get out of his way, boys. He's rolling. Give him the ball. And they did that with Wild Kyle in the second quarter a little bit. Kick it and newly extended the lead to 11. Lamar Patterson, he played all right, but it's like got no help.
Yeah, there was really nothing there for him. It seemed like a very jank, disjointed Brisbane team. It seemed like, they were like, well, we shot the 3 ball really well so far. Nothing's been dropping. We have nothing really to go to.
Yeah,
Kadee. I don't think Kadee was facilitating. There was no baseline cutting. It just seems like a bit crowding the O board. Oh yeah, Sydney doesn't rebound well defensively. So we're just going to crowd the area and hope to get something. And they did get a couple, but then they just bricked up 3s. And it's just like, well,
what are you really doing here?
What are you trying to achieve? You know that Sydney holds teams to low scores. 3 balls probably not working. You need to facilitate some better cutting, maybe some elbow. And, pull up in the mid-range area and try and score. They didn't pull up mid-range at all. It was either 3 or trying to drive over Bogut.
And if they did, it was Patterson. And Bairstow doesn't really have, like, he has the inside game, and then you're really rolling the dice against Sydney if you want to try and score inside against this team. Like, you've got to either get Bogut out of the way or try and score when Bogut's off the floor. And then I think Hodgson had a couple of sort of elbow jumpers that went in. I think he had one that went in, and you went, like they've worked out that if you just get Bogut away and then you run a little screen action at the foul line and get this guy open, that you'll score every time because of the way Bogut defends and hangs back and the way our guards are small. And then they just went away from it. It's just straight like, oh, that worked. All right, let's try something else now. Like, that was in the third quarter though. But this second quarter, obviously went to another coach's corner. Gazy dropped another F-bomb.
He loves the old F-bombs that Gazy does. They need to put like a light on his face saying, do not swear now.
Yeah, they need a thing on the camera. He said that. Like, he said, put a sign up or a light on the camera. As soon as they said, we're going to the coach's corner with Gaze, I just went, oh no. And he's straight away just F-bomb. I was like, oh. And the commentary just stopped dead like, and that's a good coach's corner there with Gaze. Like, and then Kick It hit another straight on three, which was good. And then that offensive foul, like the guy, like I think it was either Hodgson or Bairstow, kind of grabbed his arm and then like he pulled him down.
Yeah. Oh, the kick. I was like, he shot the three ball. He's like walking backwards and then he falls over and like, yeah, that's your foul. I'm like, oh no, he's just shot. He's walking back. I mean, you've pulled him down, but the momentum's that way.
Yeah.
It's not sideways.
Just weird things, but it was good to see him hitting the three ball anyway.
Just that top three ball.
The 12 o'clock or the 10 or 11 o'clock three that's his area, man. No corner threes. I don't want to see him shooting corner threes. At least David Ware could shoot a corner three if he's wide open, maybe one of three.
Look, he's, from my mind, Ware's now starting to look a bit more like an import. Have a bit more. Yeah. He's got a really nice fast three stroke. It doesn't take him a long time to get up and shoot the ball.
A good rhythm on his three too. Like it's he doesn't hesitate. If he's open, he'll shoot the ball, which is good. The only problem is he doesn't put the ball on the floor and get to the rim, which causes a few problems in the lane when you got a guy like Bogut there. You're basically just asking Newley to put the ball on the floor all the time. When you want your forward to put the ball on the floor a little bit more, but he doesn't. You can tell he doesn't have it. Like, he just doesn't have the confidence in his dribbling, and even at the rim, he doesn't finish that nice layup in the first quarter. But that was
pretty much it.
Yeah, that was pretty much it. We had a Deng Deng sighting again.
Yeah, I'd like to have more Deng Deng sightings.
Yeah,
I think that he's an adept player who should be getting a few more minutes. It's always hard when this team, and this core group of guys is winning games left, right, and center.
Yeah,
but. It's what if someone goes down, you've got guys that haven't had a lot of minutes, that haven't worked into the system. I think, first two seeds, we don't need to win. This is a game of playoffs. This isn't a game of, all right, we've just won the series and, that's great. No one remembers that. It's who wins the playoffs, right? We've got to get a 1 or 2 seed to get a home berth. That's fine. But we want guys to facilitate to know that, all right, if you go down, this is how I slot into the system. Yeah. And you need to be doing that in actual games, not just in training. My thoughts, but...
Yeah, no, I agree, because, there's not enough time.
No.
There's not enough time on the court to get guys 5 or 6 minutes. And then, obviously, he's got Panau as his first guy off the bench, which is fine. Panau and Kickett, Adnam come in with about 4 minutes to go in the first quarter, and he sticks to those rotations every time.
Yeah.
So he's got his set formula, and that's fair enough. And then obviously you bring Bowen in, and Bowen can kind of snake minutes from those four.
I have to give a shout out to Eric Stevens. It's Pinot, not Panau.
Oh, sorry, Panau.
Eric, thank you for.
Yeah. Thanks, bro.
Thanks, bro.
Nice one.
Pinot. We will.
So I had taken to calling him Pinot, no. Because he gets scored on, man. Like, he got scored on 3 times in a row in this game, or was twice in a row. And I think then he altered a shot. But he gets, they just go at him, Pinot's on the court. Let's just go at him. I guess that's like when I call Newley. When I'm in flow. But then obviously we led by 13. That was our biggest lead of the night. And Patterson brought it back to 11 at the half. Was it 11? Yeah, I think it was 10 at the half.
10 at the half.
So, we came out flat in that third quarter, man. I just, you feel good, after a good half of football. You're like, that was a good half of basketball, like I feel good about this game. It was kind of like that Melbourne game, and then they come out flat in the third quarter, and you just
seems to be a regular occurrence. I mean, at one stage we'd scored 7 points, so to get it back to 17-19 in the third.
Yeah, I think they tied it up 55 all.
They did, and then we went on a little bit of a run.
Yeah,
but like, you have to look at the fourth quarter, 13-14. Yeah, which is trash.
But we don't once the game starts to kind of grind to a halt. That's where we don't try and break out of that grind. We just we like this grind. We want this game to be a grind.
Let's hold into this area of grinding,
which I kind of like, but at the same time, I would prefer a team to just go whatever. Like we're rolling, we want to just keep scoring, but. Come playoff time and crunch time, that's when you need experience in these moments where the game's ground to a halt. No one could get anything going. Defenses are strong. Defenses are doing everything. We've got to find something in those moments. So it's where do you go? Would you prefer a team to just continuously keep rolling like a Bucks team that just keeps shooting the three? We shot 5 of 58 and we lost. No,
I don't think that's the team, and I think it's the right way. I just think we need to get to a point where a blowout's on the cards and get some guys in just one game.
Yeah, that's Illawarra was basically one of the only games, and both of those Illawarra games, I think, was the only time when we really looked like, and the Breakers game in that really early on where we didn't have the cohesion to go, oh, we've got garbage time, let's work things out. We kind of were like,
oh, we could lose 20 points. Yeah.
No, we're rolling. It's the start of the season. We've just come off 2 losses. We need to just keep these guys out there and make themselves feel good about themselves rather than getting the younger guys integrated. So David Ware hit a nice 3, and then he had that blatant goaltending, which was about 4 feet off the backboard when he blocked it.
Yeah, when he blocked it, even though it probably wasn't going in. It technically is a
goaltending. Some good hustle minutes from Bowen. I thought he struggled a little bit in the first quarter, and in the halfway through the second quarter, he had a few play breakdowns and defensively broke down a couple of times. But he played really well, and he had a nice dunk. They did say some stuff about how NBA scouts were contacting the Kings a fair bit.
What do you think in terms of picks as you've seen thus far?
So I said in the group, probably mid to late first round. I'm not you watch some of these guys playing college and you're just like, wow, it's a great stage that they're playing on. They're playing with really good players.
Yeah.
I just wonder how much him playing in the NBL is going to hurt his stock.
Well, I don't think it's going to hurt because he's not eligible to play college ball. So that was the whole reason why the next star, they come in here. And I think in the next couple of years, the G League will take over that anyway.
Yeah.
So you probably won't see a lot of the guys out. Oh, you may do. It may be one of the things. I can't believe Illawarra passed on him, though.
Yeah, I can't believe any of the team. I think Taipans as well did.
Yeah, just dude.
Crazy.
I think late first round. I think he'd fit into
probably 20 to 30, I reckon.
20 to 30, and he'll probably be stashed for a couple of years somewhere, maybe Europe, maybe back here, in order to see what he can do a little bit more. Yeah. I think we've seen good spurts. I think defensively he needs to work on his game a little bit, just because the NBA is so defense focused. Unless you're the Bulls and you chunk the bed.
Playing with Zach Levine.
Let's just shoot the ball and see who wins.
Zach Levine and Jabari Parker.
Yeah,
but so. They made some comments on the feed where they were talking to the head of the Kings, whose name escapes me, and they were saying, did they care about his stats and blah blah blah? And the Kings guy was saying, well, no, they want to know about his attitude, his professionalism. Does he do these? And I went, yeah, that's exactly what. That's where he's standing out. You'd look at his stats and just go, it's a bit average. It's not great, but you can see his professionalism, his basketball IQ. Defensively, but offensively, you can see his IQ is top notch. Definitely. And he may not be getting the minutes that complement where he's going to show off his game. I'd much prefer the scouts to be looking at his attitude rather than what he's doing on the court. So I was happy to hear that, and that made me think pretty positively about. I think he can go sort of 20 to 30. Yeah. Then if they're looking at his attitude rather than what he's doing in this.
Well, again, it's just team. Probably like Landry Shamet, who was 26th pick and for Philly and is killing it.
Yeah.
Deep late pick. Just role play, doing exactly what he needs to do. Plays 12 minutes a night, and does what. And this is what Bowen's doing. They want a guy who's not going to go this is my time. I'm here. I'm the import. I want to play more minutes. He's like, no, I'm part of this rotation.
Yeah,
this is what I do. I get in there and I hammer it hard when I can. So that's good to see as well.
Yeah, I think NBA teams are going to be looking more at that than what this guy can do in general. Adnam, he had some great minutes. I think it was Adnam, Kickett, and Bowen in that third quarter that kind of dug us out of that hole, that stinky hole we were in.
The deep hole.
Bowen had a nice dunk in transition too, and that was pretty good. Then Randall hit a nice late three, and I think that kind of iced the game, kind of really took the wind out of Brisbane. 13-14, fourth quarter. It was ugly, but we held on
for the win.
0 of 8 from Brisbane. They were chucking up late. It felt like they had nothing left. Like I wrote there, it felt like Brisbane had nothing left. They had nothing to go to. Lamar Patterson wasn't playing that great. It just you run up against the Sydney brick wall and you run out of options, and then
that's it.
Defensively, that's all over. So extra things to talk about. Kevin Lish, his 3-point streak was broken.
Any point streak was broken, I think.
So a donut. It was bagel, mate. It was awful. But man, his perimeter defense is still probably one of the best in the league.
Yeah,
and definitely
that's
I think
where
the
he
best
adds
in
a
our
lot
team.
adds a lot of and could probably be counted on as one of the guys who changed a lot of the Brisbane shots last night when he was on the floor and potentially led to less 3 points being shot.
Yeah.
But, these games happen. He'll come back. He's had a great season so far.
I think he's still shooting 50%, around 50% from three anyway. So, Wild Kyle, he stepped up. He had a good game off the bench. Bogut's defense again,
4
phenomenal.
blocks.
We got to read his stat line. 32 minutes, 14 points, 7 of 10 from the field. 12 rebounds, 2 offensive rebounds, 4 blocks, a steal, 5 assists.
He's got to be close to
man.
MVP,
Phenomenal.
man. It's just stat factories.
Absolutely phenomenal. I think if he could get his assists up a little bit and maybe get his points up, but I don't think he's going to do that. That's
but again,
just not in
for
his
someone,
mindset.
an MVP shouldn't just be stats. It should be someone who changes the course of games. Like you can't quantify how many shots he changes the trajectory of.
Yeah,
you can't
for sure,
quantify
for sure. And
how many
the
screen
defensive
assists.
presence.
Well, you can quantify screen assists, but we don't see those numbers. You'd have to go like screen assists, things like that. These are all part of the scoring process and the defensive process.
And handling in transition for a 7-footer. Oh, it's amazing and it's great. It's been fantastic to watch this season. I'm just enjoying it and good for him too, man.
It looks leaner. It looks like he could probably last another 3-4 years playing like this as well. It's not high volume. It's not high intensity.
I don't think he would really be like he couldn't have kept the weight on and played in the NBA.
No,
like,
he'd just been injury away from retirement.
Yeah, and so it's great to see him playing really well and putting bums on seats as well. Like it's going to have a flow
9,500 people on a day like yesterday, which was 40 odd degrees and stinking hot.
Yeah,
so it's good to see. Shall we look forward to the next round?
Yep.
So we got the Hawks on the
Illawarra.
5th. And the Taipans on the 7th. So
so a couple of hopefully easy beats. Hopefully, touch wood. Hawks don't seem to have an answer for us really. Jordan Jet maybe if he gets hot, but Emmett Nah seems to just not want to drive and shoot.
No, not at all.
Us.
But the Taipans, I always like the Taipans matchup with the 5 and 5.
Yeah.
Good old Nate
Chawai, for
man.
sure.
He's a big boy.
And Cairns have at least something to play for. In terms of pride, like they're going to give you 40 minutes of solid basketball, whether it's good or bad. They're going to try hard because they're at the bottom of the table.
Now, let's put this into perspective. I think CJ Hall, who was a late second round pick for Oklahoma City.
Yep.
Do you think that he has been less effective than Bowen or more effective than Bowen?
CJ Hall, does he play for Taipans?
Yeah. Have you not watched
Not really much. Only against us. Only against us I've really watched the Taipans. Yeah. I don't know. Like I still feel like I prefer a player to fit the team and play well while he's there.
Yeah.
Rather than just be a good player and he goes out there and he plays well. But who knows what the team is doing. So I would prefer Bowen in general because he fits this team perfectly. There's that oversized guy who can play 2, 3, and 4 and come in and finish plays and, be a threat at the mid-range and shoot off screens and even be a threat from the perimeter. I'd have to really look in depth at another player to go, well, that guy's going to fit our team.
That's Devon Hall.
Devon Hall, yeah.
Devon Hall. My bad.
That was the guy who Gaze was talking about with the old
Yeah.
If he's sitting on the baseline, because that's what happened. Like 2 plays later, he just backdoor Brad Newley backdoor, and it's like that's exactly what he was talking about. Why is people getting upset?
Jeez, he was 1 from 8 the other night from 3. Oof.
And then Cairns, and then what have we got after that? Have we got any other big games? I think we played the Bullets again.
We played the Bullets a few times over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, so Breakers and then Hawks again at home.
Yeah. So it could be a couple of weeks of just, potentially sneaking some guys in.
Yeah. I'd like to see some bench guys get, 5 or 6 minutes.
Yeah. So we've got Breakers and Illawarra, and then the next really big game is probably against Adelaide. And
sort of mid to late Jan.
And then mid
at home.
Late January. So shall we wrap it up?
Yeah, we'll wrap that up. Yeah, it was good win. Good year, good finish to the year. I think we're on the up, and going through into next year, we're gonna want to keep maintaining this pressure on the league, because I think as a style of basketball, it may not be everyone's taste, but I enjoy it. I enjoy the way Bogut plays, and I enjoy the way Brad Newley plays, and then Lish shooting really well, Randall being able to score in isolation. Like, I think as a style and a collective, it's championship winning basketball. Touch wood. Don't want to put the mocker on it, but obviously it's those elite teams where that's when we've got to get over that hurdle, and Melbourne United's definitely a hurdle that we need to get over going down the stretch of this season. Yep. What about you? What's your feelings on this season?
Yeah, this season is something that's been great to watch. It's good to see a team that's been kind of built around Randall and Bogut, with Lish slotting in fantastically at the 2 guard, and then they've been able to somehow recruit some of the old veterans, the Aussie veterans around the chops, and Kickett. Kickett was playing great ball for Australia up until 12 months ago. Shooting it really well. So as a bench player, he could start in any other team if he wanted to. So they've put together a fantastic roster. And we haven't even seen all the depth yet. So very, very happy. Would love to get out to a game. It's just hard with a 12-week-old baby that doesn't sleep.
I've got that coming halfway through next year.
So I'll get to something late January, probably around Australia Day. But, been great to watch at home. And,
I'm surprised you haven't heard him during this feed.
Yeah, no, he's been quiet. He's probably asleep.
So we'll probably do an in-depth look at the Kings stats.
Half season stats are coming up probably sometime next week. We'll pop that up for everyone to listen to, and talk about some of the plays and what we'd rate them at, and put some more content out for you guys.
Yep. Thanks for listening. As always, you can find us on YouTube and on iTunes and Podad. I was going to say SoundCloud, but there's no SoundCloud. Thanks to everyone watching on the stream, commenting. You're going to try and do a little bit more streaming, a little bit more active content through this week. Hopefully with that stats thing, we'll try and get some more in-depth stuff, see if we can get it out there.
Indeed.
But thanks again for listening. We really appreciate it this year. This is our first year kind of doing any kind of podcasting on any basketball. So, it's been fun. It's really interesting. It's good fun to talk about this sort of stuff.
It's a learning curve.
Yeah, for sure. I went back and had a look at some of our earlier ones a couple of weeks ago, and you could hear like us not like barely being able to speak properly, like really nervous. It was really good.
Funny.
No, it was really good. Hopefully 2019 is another good year for the Kings and a good year for us. And as long as they're playing well, we've got plenty to talk about. As long as people are listening, we've got plenty of people to talk to. So thanks, everyone.
Cheers.
Peace out.
Peace.